All right. Is it D'Angelo?
Yes, sir. That's me.
All right. And you are Cameron's nephew?
That's correct.
That's awesome, dude. He is such a cool dude.
Yeah, he's
I love
great.
him greatly. Yeah, he's awesome. So I don't know if you know anything about me or have looked me up at all. So I taught at KSU for a little while. I run an engineering company, and then I have a YouTube channel, TikTok, all those kind of things called Zane Engineers Life. And you may be a new movie star on it. Basically, I'm just trying to help out people in your spot. What is it you want to do in life? Where are you at? What you're trying to do? How do you manage your finances? How do you get a job? How do you interview? All that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
All those different things in life.
So I did get an opportunity to check out some of your videos. I thought that's pretty cool that you're putting the effort out there like that. Not many engineering professors or even workers try to explain what's going on as far as career growth. One question I did have for you, because I heard you talk about an engineering company you had, and my uncle Cameron mentioned it as well. What is it, and what exactly do y'all do?
Gotcha. Great question. So, Phoenix Engineering is the name of our engineering company. We're general consultants. We do all kinds of crazy stuff. So, we work in some niches. Most of the time, our product is our professional engineering license. A lot of things are required to be stamped or approved by a professional engineer or a PE, and that's kind of our product. It might be a building so they can get a permit. It might be a piece of equipment to know it's safe. It might be a product just to know the design is good for a certain code or a standard, or maybe their end customer just wants it to be stamped by a PE, right? And then so we do a lot of different work. We have niches in, we do a lot of movies, rigging, entertainment, show business, WrestleMania, people on fire, crazy shit like that. When you go to a big concert and there's speakers hanging over you and video walls flying everywhere, we do that kind of work. We also do a lot of plant work, mezzanines, equipment, big structures, cranes, all kinds of stuff like that. We do a lot of ornamental stuff, like all of the canopies and railings and awnings and things on buildings, or McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or places like that. The sign, we do all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that's a lot of the different things that we do. We work in a lot of different industries and basically just try to help everybody.
Well, that's neat. I didn't know you had so many hands in so many areas. But yeah, I've always wondered about the movie crews and how they set up their, all the mannequins and all the camera angles and just all the stuff I know they got to piece together. And then they have to have equipment specifically for some shot that they might need, right? So that's pretty interesting.
And they end up coming to someone. So we got a job one time because our customer told another customer that the only people they knew stupid enough to do it was Phoenix Engineering. It was some crazy stuff on fire on live TV, and we've been trying to figure out how to use that in our marketing for years. It doesn't really make any sense. Hey, we're really stupid. No, it doesn't really work. So we try to figure out what's going on. Let's come back. So Cameron hit me up and he said you were looking at switching careers, figuring out what's going on, trying to figure out what you're doing in the world. Tell me where you're at. Tell me what you're trying to do. Tell me what's your why. Tell me the path you're on, obstacles you're in. Just throw it out there and let's just talk and see if we can help you out.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start from my beginning. I've been in the States since I was 2 years old. We moved around Texas, California, Florida, but eventually touched down here in Louisiana. And that is actually where I got my degree from in mechanical engineering. Then I got my minor in applied mathematics. And throughout my college career, I did end up getting a co op and trying to work in the field. And I got about 4 terms or something like that, and then they ended up offering me a position for which was really great, and I was going to do it. But then life gets in the way, and I had to come back to just spend time with the family because of certain family events that had happened, and in doing so, I had to abscond that offer. And so after everything got good, stable, I was able to, start working again in the field. I did a couple like civil engineering positions where we build bridges over here in
Sure.
Lake Charles. And then I also worked in construction for a little while doing project engineering.
Okay.
But I've always wanted to more so work with mechatronics or in robotics somehow. So I want to get my master's in those fields. That's gonna take time. But right now, I'm focused on just being a good father and have a good money making opportunity for the family because
Sure.
eventually, along the line, I met my wife, and then we have two kids now. So I'm
Okay.
definitely trying to grow in my career. That way, I could, step forward for them.
Sure. 100%. You got to pay the bills. You got to have survivability out of the way, right? Once you survive, you can then work on thrive. And that's kind of the next step, right? Are you currently working? You in between gigs? What are you looking to do?
So I have a few part-time positions. One, I'm a local area manager for technician work.
Sure.
We have contracts with the malls, with the postal offices here from SWLA all the way through Texas. And so I manage that, do a little bit here and there, make sure everything is working, preventative maintenance. If there's anything wrong, get with the engineering team and see how we can better the situation.
Gotcha.
Uh, I'm still working that position. And previously, before that, I've just been trying to get jobs while down here. And one that reached out to me was like an appliance position. So I'm pretty good with my hands. I've worked in a lot of positions with my hands, right? Getting dirty and repairing stuff. So I did that for a little while. But previously, before that, I think the most interesting position I had and one I was most thankful for was actually working with robotics. I was a test engineer in like at Applied Materials in Texas, and I worked
Gotcha.
there for like a couple years. And we test Wi-Fi tools and do all the programming, all the setting on to the operating systems, and then actually testing the machine to do what we have it for. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at right now. I no longer work at that appliance position. I guess it was just not a good fit. And I still have my part-time position, but that's only part-time. So I'm trying to
Okay.
uh, get situated with my full-time. And I've applied to many different engineering places over here. I've gotten interviews,
Sure.
but ultimately, none of them has stuck so far.
Gotcha. What is it you want to do? You said mechatronics.
Yes, sir. Working in
Okay.
like little robotics areas.
Are you tied to the area you're in? How old are your kids?
So I have a daughter, she's 3, and my son is about 18 months. And I
Okay.
would definitely say we're not tied to the area.
Mhm.
It's always good to be close to family, but that's not necessarily
Sure.
something that has to happen. So yeah, I've been looking around, and then my uncle Cameron and his family. I've definitely looked in Georgia for a few
Sure.
positions.
Gotcha. Well, okay. So something to think about on the kids side. So until they're about 4, they need to know you exist. But if you look at the science, our earliest memories really don't kick into about 4 or 5 years old. Okay. So you have an opportunity now to work, to really get after it, to dig into whatever it is, to do work and school at the same time, to put 168 of your 168 hours a week into furthering you, your career, and what you're trying to do. Okay.
Okay.
Now, once your kids hit 5, 6 years old, if they're if they're girls, well, your kids you need to be around from about 5 to 12.
Okay.
You need to be involved. You need to be there every day. They need to know you exist. You need to spend time with them. It's time to play. It's time to do stuff, right? If they're girls, you've got to take that into about 15, 16, right? They need
Okay.
to know you're around. You got to be there. You got to be a figure. You don't necessarily have to be on site, but you need to at least be video call available, seeing them all the time, right? They need to know that you care, that you're a part of their life, that you want to go outside and play ball and all those kind of things. So there is an investment in that period of your life where you're going to have to figure out what it is you can do to make that happen, right? Along with paying all the bills. Now, where this comes down is, and let's just talk relationship for a while. You said you're married. How long you guys been married?
5 years, I believe. Yeah, 5 years.
Okay. Did y'all know each other before that for a period of time?
Yeah, like a year prior.
Okay. So here's a really important one to do, D'Angelo. Okay. You're going to sit down sometime over the next day or two when it's quiet and you got a minute and you don't have distractions, and you're going to write down what is your why.
Okay.
And then you're going to ask your partner to do the same on their own, not with you involved. Okay. What is your why? What do you want to do? What's your outcome? What's it look like in 25 years? Where are we trying to get? Okay. Now, it's very important that you do these separately and then come together and build the family why. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay. Now, if you do yours and then she doesn't do hers individually, she's going to go along with whatever you say. And you have to look at it from her perspective, especially as a young mom. Hey, we got to take care of the kids. We got to pay the bills. We got to make sure the family's good. We got to do those things. We got to get survivability clear, right? So some of the things she's going to want, maybe I'll call it short term, right? Hey, we need money. We need a house. We need this. We need that, right? So you need to kind of work with that and understand that and just ask bigger prompting questions. Okay, well, cool. Once we have that, well, what do you want? Well, once we have that, what are we going to need? Well, once we have that, where do you want to go? Well, hey, once the kids are gone, what are we going to do? Right? You need a really clear why, and I'll call it the direction, right? So if you were going to go on a trip, you could pack up all the things and prepare all you want, but if you don't have a direction you're going, how do you even get started, right? Whereas if you know I'm going to be on that mountain over there in 10 years, now I can start walking that way, okay? And what's important is you having a why gives you some clear direction. Her having a why gives clear direction. And then you come together and you build a family one, because that's the one that's important. And at some point, you may have to understand that to achieve the family one of you may have to give up some part of what you wanted to do for a short period. And if you've talked about it, that's now okay, right? Like for years, my kids understood dad's trying to build a business. He's not going to be available. And then later, once I kind of had the business set where it could pay the bills, I coached all of their teams. I spent tons of time with them. I made sure I was there. Because, see, I grew up, my dad, the only way I ever saw him was if I went to the construction site, because he built houses. And if I wanted to see him, I could go work with him. He didn't come to a game. He didn't do anything else. All he did was work. So I decided that wasn't how I was going to do it, right? And it was very important for me and my why to be important in my kids' lives. Did I lose you? Are you still there? There you are. All right, cool. Froze up for a second. You still with me?
Yes, I just had a phone call.
Yeah, no worries. So it's important for you guys to build out your whys and your family why, because that's going to help you figure out what you need to do next. Okay. If your clear family why is I need a house and, $5,000 a month to pay for it, then you've got to figure out what's the quickest, fastest way for me to do that. And it might not be exactly what you want to do, but you'd love for it to be on the path to what you want to do, right? So let's say you want to be a robotic engineer one day. Well, maybe you have to take a gig as a tech working on the control panels at $32 an hour, right? And that gets you along your path and helps fulfill the family why. So those are important things. And that comes back to the question I was starting to go down a minute ago. Are you limited to an area? Are you limited to a certain pay? Are you limited to a certain benefits? Are there certain things you have to have? Because you need to know those up front so that we then go after the correct thing. Okay. Any of that making sense, D'Angelo? You have any initial questions before we keep going?
Totally understandable. Yes, sir.
Okay. Once we have our why and some of those parameters laid out and our must-haves, now we can attack this. Now we go after the who. Okay, who's got the job I want? Who's doing what I want to do? Who can I connect with? How do I get in their childhood birthday photos? How do I get a job or a restraining order? Like, how do I get so involved in everything they've done and be such a big part of everything that's going on around them that they have to have me? Because here's the thing, D'Angelo, if you can do shit, there isn't anyone out there right now. You don't have any competition. The only thing limiting you is you. And the only thing limiting you is getting in touch with that person to know that you exist. Okay. Because I'll just give you an example as an employer. If I put up an ad, I'll have 1,000 applications because everybody just pushes the button. But I don't have 1,000 people that can do the job. I have to weed through them. And if they come to me through my network and have already been recommended, then I'm going to listen to them and talk to them further. I'm going to dig into them a little further, right?
Okay.
Like if your uncle said, hey, I got this engineer you need to hire, I would look into them, look through their resume, want to talk to them and have a conversation with them, right?
Right.
even though I don't currently have a job up. Right? Got me? So your connections and your connections are what matters right now. And here's a really cool question to ask people, D'Angelo. Don't ask for anyone's help. Ask them if they know someone that can help you. You can even ask them, do you know someone that knows someone that can help me? And it's incredibly powerful because the cool part is oftentimes they'll come back and argue with you that they are the person that can help you. And now you don't have to convince them to help you. They're trying to convince you. So when we boil this all down and we've gone back, we figured out our why, our must-haves, our parameters, and the things we want to do, then we can figure out our keywords of our positions, and we can start doing some Google foo. We can start getting on LinkedIn and using the filters. We can start using our connections. We can start asking for connections of people, and we can get to the 5 or 6 people that are doing what you want to do and figure out how they got there. That makes sense what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You want to be a robotics engineer? Find 10 of them and figure out how they got there. What degree do they have? What experience do they have? What path? And how do you match up with that? And how do you get in there with them?
Okay, that makes sense. Look at the examples and then go from there.
Well, you have engineer training, right? What are we taught to do?
What'd you say?
You have engineer training, right? Don't you have a degree?
I have a degree, but I haven't taken the certification. I'm working on that right now.
No, but you've studied it and you've studied the engineering method. And what is that? First, we create a hypothesis, then we gather data, then we create a test or an example, and then we repitch our hypothesis until we figure out what's going on, right? That's the engineering method.
Pretty much.
So that's exactly what we're going to do this. We're going to attack this like an engineer. We're going to gather our data. We're going to gather our information. We're going to have our knowns and unknowns, right? We're going to create our problem statement. Then we're going to go out and gather data and make connections and get in front of people and create opportunities. And then we then have data to analyze and figure out what we're going to do. Because what we're trying to do, D'Angelo, is create a choice. Now, here's an interesting one. If you have one job offer, how many choices do you have?
None.
None. And if you have 2 job offers, you now have a dilemma, right? But if I have 3 or more, now I can make a choice. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to take all that information and all our connections, and we're going to start getting in front of people to create opportunities. And we're going to try to create as many of them as possible, as quickly as possible, so that we have a choice. Then we can come back to our family unit and our why and sit down with the boss lady and say, here's our options. What do we want to support for the family? Okay, well, that one pays more money, but I have to travel more. Are we cool with getting a nanny to help you with the kids? Are we cool with this? Are we cool with that? And that way you guys are together because you're much, much stronger together than you are apart.
Correct.
Making sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
And
What's your...
Along those lines, I do have to look back, and during college, that's pretty much exactly what I was doing and intending for. You know, I got in contact with my higher ups, the professors, and even the dean. Pretty close with him as well. I'd taken his daughter out to prom, so pretty close, pretty close.
Have you contacted all of those people?
Yes, and they have actually chosen to reach out to me as well. Like the job that I was talking about, it was working in the plant with LyondellBasell. And I definitely had my first mentor and my second mentor reach out to me to see how I've been doing and, what path I'm on at the moment. And it's always great to touch bases with them. I've pretty much kept in contact with most of the people I've worked with or that had a big impact on me at the time.
Mm-hmm. I need you to go back to every single one of them and create a problem statement to get through them.
Okay.
Now, you're going to go through this exercise we talked about and figure out what it is you're trying to actually do. And then I need you to hit every single one of them, including me, and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Do you know anyone that knows anyone that can help me? And then just see what happens. If you get any response, hey, can we do a call? Can I take you to lunch? Can we meet for a minute? Right? Chase down every single lead, put it in your Excel sheet, log it, catalog it, date it, put information, put a follow-up in your calendar, right? You're going to make your family's future your job. That's what you do. That's what you do all day, every day. You got me? Now, the job you work is a small part of that, right? There may be a job you're trying to get to. Well, I've got to work to pay the bills and study at night to get this degree. And if the family understands that, they'll support me and help me do that, not ask me to do other stuff, right? Or vice versa. Maybe the wife can make more money than you, and that's what you guys need. Maybe you need to be the house husband for a minute while you're training and studying and getting a new degree. I don't know what path is best for you guys. You do, right? And that comes with conversation of what it is we want to do, what our knowns are, what our givens are, what our requirements are, what our musts are, right? We don't get to wants yet. We get to musts and needs and have to haves, and then we work our way out from there. All that makes sense?
Of course.
I want to do something with you if you're up for it. A couple of my editors, buddies, and other business people have been suggesting I do this for years.
Okay.
Are you up for D'Angelo's resume carve up on screen?
Actually, I would be, yeah, I'd be open to it.
Okay. All right, D'Angelo. So we're taking a look at your resume. All right. So this comes across my desk, and I'll just think out loud, right? This is no personal attack. This is nothing bad about you. This is how does it come across? So when I first look at this is a super weird format with very long information at the top, and it's hard to read. And I assume that you're 75 years old because it's 3 freaking pages. Oh, wait a minute. When did he graduate? 2018. You're telling me this is 7 years of info? Well, I start looking at it. What have I got in here? I've got print supervisor at Office Depot. Do I need that to get an engineering degree?
Well, no, but I do apply to this current resume that you have is my resume in order to apply to an open position at the moment. I mean,
Okay.
definitely need the bills paid, as you say, but I got to see what opportunity is in that, like you say. But at the same time, the reality of the situation is I have to look into a lot of areas that
Sure.
may not be closely related to engineering. You know what I'm saying?
So in this case, and I'm glad you said that, because let's say I was just posting this somewhere, or maybe I put it out on Indeed or I put it on my profile, and they're just going to scan keywords. Okay, cool. Leave it all in there, right? You didn't have a chance to send me one directly. I think, well, actually, you sent it to me, but I think your uncle sent it to me as well. If you were sending it to me as an engineering company, take a minute and customize it.
Right.
Okay. One of the things that I see, and I was talking about a minute ago, people are shotgun applying for everything. Okay. And that's cool. Like that might work on Tinder, right? Just swipe right for everybody. It's a numbers game. But if you take a minute and actually spend a minute digging into the person or the people or the place and create a little more of a custom for that situation, you're going to be much better off. So you need to have, for you, you've got your use my hands, make some money resume. And then you've got the, I want to get into engineering and do what I was doing before. And then I want to get into engineering and do robotics. You need to have 3 or 4 different resumes, 3 or 4 different cover letters, 3 or 4 different approaches to how you go across this. And you're an engineer, so that should be a system you can create pretty quickly, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you should have a file naming system, a convention, a database, have it in Excel of who you sent what resume when and how it worked out so that you get data back as to which ones people are doing well. And in marketing, we do a lot of A/B testing. We'll put up a website and then we'll change the font, we'll change the color, and we'll move the button, and we'll do this and we'll do that. And then we look for the one that works best. Do the same thing with your resume. Takes extra time, but it's worth it. You know what would really, I mean, what would you do for an extra 10 grand right now? A lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's 10 grand a year for the rest of your life, expanding and compounding. So take a few extra minutes to build those things out. So for me, this needs a total rewrite because I don't know anything about you. Seeking opportunity to develop and contribute engineering skills, striving to collaborate efficiently and complete project tasks. Dude, that's canned, boring as hell, means nothing. Hey, I'm an awesome, experienced, technical, hands-oriented engineer who wants to build badass robots. If you sent that to me and my robotics company, I'm interested. If the next section tells me all the softwares and things that you've worked on and logic controllers and programmers and things that you can do, awesome. If the next section is your degree, awesome. And if the next section is experience doing exactly that, holy shit, all I want to do is talk to you. I remind everyone watching this, there's only one reason for your resume, and that's to get them to continue the conversation. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be great. It has to create interest, and it has to do it quickly, because I don't have time to read through all this crap. No one's reading this, dude. I got to get tailored to each of the things I'm trying to do. If I gave you 2 days to rewrite this for a robotics engineering job, you probably have a pretty good idea of what you would do, right?
Yes, I know what I would take off. I would also more so research into the positions that I do find attractive, and then uh, mold it towards that position. I have done that before, and I molded it towards the company. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I do have some networking people that I do know in the companies I've applied for. So, I have taken it back and tried to do exactly what you say. But like the resume says right now, yeah, I'm just trying to get a filler position in order to
Well, right.
not lose
Yeah.
my.
And so if we were to build out 3 or 4 different versions of this, that robotics one would probably have a picture of a robot up in the corner. It'd have a pretty amazing objective, making it really clear what I was trying to do and how I was trying to change the world. It would, I would look at, remember the people we were connecting with? We're going to find 10 people doing what it is you want to do. And we would look at keywords and backgrounds of what they had, and we would emphasize that in our resume, right?
Okay.
If we knew they were looking for certain softwares, that'd be the first damn thing I put up there. If we knew they were looking for certain kinds of controllers or wiring background, or working on certain pneumatics or electronics or hydraulics, all that would be in there first, right? We're an engineer. We're going to create a solution to their problem. And the real problem is they don't know they have the problem yet. The real problem is there's so many people applying that it's noise. The real problem is they don't know you exist and that you can solve their problem. And that's what's about to change, right? Because you're going to be in their childhood birthday photos.
That's the goal.
Well, and it's not just the goal, it's the requirement, man. It's your identity. It's who you are and what you do. My name's D'Angelo Coates. I take care of my family. I'm a badass robotics engineer. If you got to put that on your mirror and say it to yourself every single morning, go for it, right? Program the machine, right? Just like you program a robot, we're going to program D'Angelo to be the best he's ever been. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
Let's look through some of this in a little further detail. All this is wasted space you could have done something with. Pictures, information, all that kind of stuff. The box format probably needs to go away. I would only lead with education straight out of school, or unless you had a 4.7 GPA at Yale or Harvard or something like that. This means nothing to me. I don't even know the school, so that needs to go somewhere else. I doubt the first piece of experience anyone wants to know about is you working on appliances, especially if you're trying to get an engineering job. If you're trying to get an appliance building job, that's the first one you lead with. If you're trying to be a robotic, I'd rather know you were a test technician. I'd rather know you were a field engineer. I'd rather know you did electronics repair, right? I'm going to craft. And the thing is, these are all just blocks that I can move around on the screen, right? To create the next version of the machine I'm trying to build, right? If I'm making a robot and I know it needs to pick up something heavy, I start with a strong frame. I start with a good gripper. And then if they switch out the part that I'm moving, it's now a piece of glass. Well, I can change out the end effector, right? Same thing with your resume. It's just blocks. And you're just going to put in and build the puzzle for what they need to see to be interested in you. Does that make sense? Don't follow some BS sheet format that everybody else follows and write down what other people did or fill in some template you pulled off of Word. Create what needs to be created so they are now interested in talking to you. I would encourage you to dig through all the people that do what it is you want to do and look for their portfolio pages and see what they put into stuff. See if I can grab you an example here. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for one of my old students. There we go. She changed her profile. Dadgummit. I had a good example I was going to give you. Veronica had a really cool robot and ended up getting her a job at DECA. She had an awesome arm. She talked about this impact she wanted to make in robotics. Basically, that's what you want to build out. The other thing is you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile matches the story you're telling. If I can find you. Are you on LinkedIn?
I am. I need to update it from my previous position then.
This you?
That's me.
Okay. Does this story match this story?
Except for the appliance position.
Gotcha. And you can make fun of me in the video for not knowing how to move stuff on the screen. So the important thing is we want to tell a story. We want to tell a story that gets people interested, right? Whatever the career it is you're trying to go toward, you want to create the story of someone you would be interested in talking to in that career. Now, again, that's going back and doing your research of other people and seeing what their backgrounds are and what they emphasize and what keywords they have and what experiences they have. Or maybe you're trying to get on with some company and you see that everyone that works there has this skill or this one thing. You want to make sure you emphasize that, right? And you want that to match on the different ways they might find you. So you might have to change out your profile a little bit every now and again. Maybe you're doing a batch where you're going after robotics jobs. So you have a certain profile and a certain resume and a certain demeanor and a certain act, because you're just trying to get them to want to talk to you. Because once you get in the room, you're going to crush it, right? Once you get in the room, you will not be denied. You'll get the job. I have supreme confidence in that. You're well spoken, you'll talk to them, you're well experienced, and you can talk them into just giving you a shot, right? But the thing is we've got to get in the door to begin with. So like when I look at the picture on your LinkedIn profile, is that a robotics engineer?
That's a happy person.
It kind of looks like a
freshly shaven,
punk young dude, high school kid. I actually like the look you have in the call that you have right now. You have a hat, you have glasses, you have on some kind of uniform or shirt. You could probably clean up and shape up the beard a little bit, right? You could clean the lines up a little bit and look a little tighter, but I don't mind it. But it's back to what are you trying to say? If you said I'm a young, eager, happy, excited, enthusiastic robotics engineer, okay, that picture matches. You want congruence is what I'm getting at. You want everything to kind of match. When I look at one, I need to see the other because I'm trying to learn the story of you as quickly as possible. I'm just trying to see, first off, do you have any skill set whatsoever? Second, would you fit into the culture of my company? Would you cause a problem? And then third, do you match kind of some of the core values of what we're looking for, right? If we're looking for young, energetic people, are you young and energetic? If we're looking for people in a certain industry with certain software experience, do you have it? If we're looking for people who want to change the world and our company just wants to make money, those may not go together, right? I need to create a slightly different profile to get in that company. And remember, you're basically just selling yourself to get the opportunity to show to them that you're awesome and can provide extreme value. So whatever game you've got to play to get in that room, you do it. If you got to send the resume on purple paper, you do it. If you got to, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Wall Street, but this dude spends years trying to get 1 minute in this dude's office, and finally he gets his opportunity. And the things he had to do before that was crazy, right? I had a dude who called me at 9 a.m. Every Tuesday for almost a year. I didn't eventually give him a job, but I at least talked to him. And that's the thing. You will not be denied because this is important for you and your family, right? So just coming back, let's look at LinkedIn profile for a minute. All right, so it looks like you might have worked at NASA and you're super young and probably obnoxious. Looks like you were a field engineer. Dude, I mean, you've got a lot of stuff in here, but does this mean anything to me? Does budget and cost projections help me build a better robot? Does project submittals? And I know you're just trying to find jobs, but remember, just try to put in the things that create interest of who you are and what you're trying to do. To pull in some of these things, some of this other stuff could work out to your resume. Let's see, you were test tech, design tech, went to McNeese, got okay grades. Interest in things like that. Like if I'm rolling through here and I'm Elon, am I hiring you tomorrow? Maybe not. But can I create a profile that would be of interest to someone like that? Probably, right? Let's go look at your resume for a minute. Let's do this. Again, it's boring. There's a lot of information here. I'm not real clear of what kind of job you're looking for. I don't even find out to the end that you can actually do stuff. I got a whole section on Math Lab. How long ago was that? I got Office Depot gigs. I would kill most of those off if you're trying to work in engineering. And let's think about it. If you're trying to get a job at the parts store, they don't care about any of this. They just want you to show up right now, right? There's so few people that actually show up and work hard in those type of jobs that they're not that hard to get if you actually want them. Let's see what I got in here. Now I have seen, and I had a student a while back in a similar spot as yours. Life happened, and he's been trying to recover. So he actually wrote that into his stuff. I'm a young engineer Basically, he said, I'm a young engineer that got their ass kicked and had to work their own way through school. And I've had to work 1,000 different jobs to get me in the position to being an amazing engineer for you. Like he just leaned into it, right? That's who he was. That was the profile of his personality. Hey, I've shown I'm going to work hard. I've been a bar back for the past 6 years, paying my own way through school and figuring out how to make life work. In his cover letter, he leaned into it. Hey, I've never had anything go well or easy, and I'm still here. And just think if I came and brought that for your company. And with that approach, he got some awesome jobs in mechatronics and has worked his way up. The thing is, and I want you to take this, if nothing else, from this, D'Angelo. You've gotten your ass kicked, right? And you're still here and you're still crushing it. And that gives you an advantage over people, because you now know what it's like to work hard and to do what's needed to be done and to answer the call of duty. There's a lot of people that have had it easy and aren't going to make it when they face adversity. You've already faced it.
Okay.
That's what I say. I'm convinced that if you got in the room, you're going to be fine. So now we have to create and engineer the process of getting in the room.
Yes, sir.
Making sense?
Yes. I appreciate it.
What you got for questions? I'll give you 1 or 2 questions and then we'll jet.
Yeah, so let's see. Along with what we discussed so far, getting in the door, I want to know some things that you did in order to get to where you're at. So maybe not even before you started your company, but even the adversity you faced in starting your company and how that could apply in the sense for, developing and creating an engineering opportunity. Take those same skills and apply it in that sense. So maybe persistence, just something along those lines.
Gotcha. So I grew up in construction, so I knew how to work hard, right? Gave me work ethic. It also gave me perspective because I saw a lot of people that were struggling. Like we used to go bail our bricklayer out of jail so we could finish getting brick on the house so we could get a draw so we could eat. That's a lot of people involved, right? A lot of people on drugs, a lot of people on alcohol, a lot of people in bad situations, a lot of people not where they wanted to be in life. And, some wallowed in it and became victims, and others used it as the adversity to help them do more, right? They decided they were no longer, because you get what you accept in life. And once you choose to no longer accept that, now you can move on and be more powerful. And if you've had those experiences and opportunities, you have an advantage on people. So for me, I got to see a lot at a really young age. I was running construction crews at 15. I was running half the company at 17. I was, handling people, talking to people in all walks of life and all avenues and learning that people are just people and you should respect them and treat them well until they prove that they're a complete asshole, right? But that's on them, not you, right? And then you should still probably give them a second chance because maybe they were having a bad day. But sometimes people will just prove over and over that's who they are, right? And you listen to them if they do that. But anyway, that got me in construction. Like I said, I had talent and I had ability. So I figured if the good Lord gave me that, I probably ought to do something with it. And so I went to engineering school. I never had any intention of running my own business. I thought I would work my way up in a major corporation and take over the world that way. My first gig out of grad school was Lockheed. Massive company, thought we'd do cool stuff. All of my roommates and buddies all took jobs at Lockheed. All of them did cool shit except for me. My job was boring. My job was awful. It was an hourly salary dump thing of budgets just being burned in the military. They didn't even need what I ended up making. And the Air Force guy told me. So it was kind of cool. My final project, I went down to visit with him and basically figured out that my project was unneeded and was an end of your budget dump. And so I said, well, basically, this is a doorstop. And he was like, yes. And I said, well, can you show me a door around here that we need to hold open? He was like, hey, I think I got one. So we went and found this door and I measured it. And so my report was like this big, but it's in a folder that's like this big. And he sent me a picture where he had held the door open with it so that they actually got some use out of what I produced. Right. Well, that job sucked, and I had moved to Atlanta, and it wasn't as awesome as I thought it was going to be, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. And my buddy came by one day and said, hey, there's an engineering company up the road looking for people. And to date myself, I faxed my resume over, interviewed the next day, and took the job the day after that. And it was a consulting firm that was taking over the world and doing cool things. And so for the next 4 years, I did about 15 years of experience traveling the world doing crazy things. And when When that ran its course and I was looking for another job, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I'd helped build their engineering department, so I'd done some business side as well and some people building and all that. And I thought I wanted to be a technical engineer, so I got another job in technical engineering, doing really, really cool stuff. I started at a company that everybody had PhDs in engineering, and I just had a lowly master's degree. So I was the dumb guy all over again, got to learn. But I had old customers start calling me. Hey, we need you to do this. I don't do that anymore. Yeah, you do. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. Dude, I don't do that. Call so and so. So jokingly, one of them drove out and put a bag of money on my porch. And that's how my company started. So
Okay.
the point of that, D'Angelo, is the path is going to find you eventually. You just have to put yourself out there for it. And you have to keep creating opportunities in those areas until you find your spot.
Definitely.
So I don't have a definite path or description or thing that gets you exactly where you want to get. All I can tell you is keep working toward it and finding and creating more opportunities. Because eventually there's some spot in the world that needs you really badly and needs your talent, and you'll fill that role when it's needed. Just like me right now. I should probably retire and go do something else and just teach, but there's a bigger calling. My company needs to be bigger. There's more people that need to be helped. I've got to create new leaders. My personal mission now is to create people who create people, because I've got to do it on a bigger scale, because there's not enough of us. There are no engineers, there are no technicians, there are no pipe fitters, there are no welders. There's no one that can build a control panel. There are precious few of us and monstrous amounts of work to do. So I tell you right now, if there's something you want to do, the only one keeping you from doing it right now is you. Get on the phone, make the call, send the letter, show up, get in their childhood birthday photos, take them to lunch, send them an Uber Eats for a 5-minute phone conversation. Continue ask, do you know somebody that knows somebody that can help me? And that will get you what you want to get and everything you want to get in life.
That's true.
Make sure the first exercise is you figuring out your why, and the boss lady figuring out hers, and then you figuring out your family one, because your kids and their future is what's important right now, right?
Exactly. Yes. That is
Right?
what's most important for me.
Yeah, 100%. Now, if along that way you can be fulfilled and do something amazing and change the lives of other people, then you get your 3 for 1.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to get, man. That's where you want to make every moment count and everything that you do count, and try to get in 2 and 3 for 1s out of your time. Cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So none of this means nothing if you don't do something.
Has to be an action taken. Yes.
All right. So 2 weeks from now, I want an email from you telling me what you've done and what you're doing next.
Okay.
Can you make that happen?
I sure can.
All right, cool. I'll tell your uncle you're amazing until you don't do some shit. Then I'm going to tell him to get on your case again, okay?
Yeah, I need that. I'll need that if that happens, but I'll strive and make it happen.
Well, you have drive and motivation, and you've already come through the hard part. So everything you do from here is up, man. Everything you do from here is bonus. Everything you do from here is awesome. So, go make the world what you want it to be. You've got the skills and training and experience that other people don't have. Now you got to figure out what it is you want to do and craft the story to get in that room so that you can convince them how awesome you are.
Okay.
Got me? All right, man. I appreciate your time greatly.
I appreciate your help. Definitely the resume take apart. I also appreciate just for giving this opportunity for us to actually discuss anything and conversate about, just the future. What I really like about the conversation we've had so far is actually, the structure of what you promoting me to do coming in towards what I will be doing coming, in the near future, or like tomorrow, right? Developing my why, communicating that with the rest of the family. Definitely actions that I will take care of.
Well, and let's talk about that for a minute. So we're stronger together. So if you can build this into a family why, then everyone's working together. Then the kids are helping you write resumes. They're bringing you coffee. They're checking on you. The wife is handling the kids while you're on the video call to get the job. All those kind of things, you work together, right? And it's super important that they understand, because your kids or at some point you're going to miss a game. You're going to miss a recital. And it's because dad is trying to build a career for doing better for us so that later on we have more, right? And if they know that, then they will not be disappointed. Now, if you never show up for a game, you need your ass kicked. Because if you can't schedule in one game or going, then that's ridiculous, okay? because that's also a job you have. Like you can literally put that one on the resume too. I'm dad. I got stuff to do, right?
Right.
That's a really important role. Like I said, they need to know you exist till they're about 4, and then 4 to 12, you need to be there. You need to be present. You need to be a good example for them, right? When they see you working hard and not taking no for an answer and continuing to just work and work to get what you want, that's going to mean a lot to them, right? I mean, look, I had no idea the impact I made on my older son, right? I'd spent my whole life trying to talk him out of engineering, go do business, go do real estate, go do all those kind of things. He's a junior in mechanical engineering at Mississippi State. And I'm like, why? Like, why the hell are you doing that? He's like, well, Dad, you taught me an engineer can do anything. And I don't know what I want to do yet. You taught me an engineer could run a restaurant, be a chef, sell real estate, be a pilot, whatever. Like, you guys are trained to figure things out and create processes. And so that's what I'm going to do. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So you got 2 advantages. Well, you've got many more, but your main 2, you've got that degree in training, and then you've got these experiences that you've already been through. If you couple that with your network, your family, and all the people that you know, you're going to absolutely crush it.
I agree.
All right, go do like 500 push-ups and then start sending out some resumes. See, bro.
I get my pull-ups in.
100%. Got to build that back, dude.
That's right.
All right. See you, D'Angelo. Have a good one. I'll look for your email in 2 weeks. If you want to do a follow-up call at some point, or if you know somebody else that's struggling in the same spot that needs to hit me up. I need content for the channel. The more stuff I can get out there. I mean, just think about it. If we put this up, there's 100,000 people in your same spot.
That's
right?
true.
All right. And just, this can help them for years and years and years to come. So I appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Glad to be a part of it.
All right. Bye.